Hello, I'm Reverend Dr. Thomas William Ruston, a curate here in Birmingham, and I have recently completed doctoral studies on the Trinitarian thought and Ecclesiology of Orthodox theologian John Zizioulas, and I have engaged his thought with critiques made against Social Trinitarianism. In this video, I just wanted to present a kind of digital abstract, and if you would excuse me, I'll just give you that now. Since the publication of Zizioulas' seminal text, Being as Communion, in 1985, successive theologians have turned to his work to postulate a social trinity. The past decade has witnessed a significant repudiation of social Trinitarianism, but I think such criticism has an implicit tendency to argue that Zizioulas posits a social doctrine of the Trinity. This thesis shall consider Zizioulas' Eucharistic ecclesiology in relation to its reception by social Trinitarianism, and ask whether both his social Trinitarian advocates, such as Miroslav Volf, Colin Gunton and Catherine Lacuna, as well as their critics, such as Catherine Tanner, Lewis Ayres, Tchesco and Stephen Holmes, really do justice to the problems considered by Zizioulas. Whilst acknowledging that there are significant similarities in their initial engagement, and recognising the limitations of Zizioulas' project, this thesis shall maintain that Zizioulas does not argue for a social doctrine of the Trinity, because his social Trinitarian advocates are posing different questions to the relationship between the Trinity and the Church than those posed by Zizioulas. Although the social Trinitarians draw from Zizioulas' work, they do so to answer their own questions, which they resolve by projecting revised Trinitarian thesis, rooted in perichoresis, onto ecclesial and social structures. By attending to the nature of Zizioulas' ecclesiological questions, I shall make the case that Zizioulas exhibits a nexus of question and answer that belongs to the neopatristic synthesis, which emerged in Orthodox theology in the 20th century, especially amongst theologians Vladimir Lossky and Georgios Folowski. This thesis offers a reparative reading of Zizioulas' Eucharistic ecclesiology by examining how Zizioulas relates the Trinity to the Church on the basis of theosis as Christification. In this thesis, I use the lens of Zizioulas' Christology to consider whether 1. Zizioulas projects a philosophical personalism onto the Trinity. This thesis reframes the discussion in terms of a Christianized Hellenism, and that Zizioulas understands theosis as Christification through participation in the filial relationship between the Son and the Father. 2. That the Trinity forms a paradigm for the communion of the Church. This thesis argues that Zizioulas does not postulate the Church as a paradigm of the Trinity, because he identifies the Church with the hypostasis of Christ as a pneumatological body of Christ. 3. This thesis considers whether Zizioulas maintains a social doctrine of the Trinity. It argues that the tension which exists between Zizioulas and his interlocutors on the monarchy of the Father suggests that Zizioulas and the social Trinitarians operate within a different nexus of question and answer.